Sis, let's have a real conversation. Are you a bargain priced woman? Okay. I know that sounds pretty harsh, but think about it. Are your standards low? Do you not expect a man to protect or provide for you? Are you willing to just give, and bring the whole table when the man asks you, what do you bring to the table? Let's be real. If the answer is yes, then please stop what you're doing right now. Take a deep breath and understand that you are the prize and that you don't have to prove yourself to any man, especially a man that has the nerve to be in your face. Okay? Do you not know? And I'm not saying this is right. And I'm not saying this is how it's supposed to be. But do you not know, across the world, everywhere, men have to pay very large sums of money. Oftentimes they are called dowries to families and to women before they can even think about touching the woman. I've lived in the Middle East for 6 years on and off as an undergraduate student and after I graduated. And I tell you, even though in America, so I'm in America right now, even though in America, the Middle East gets a really bad rep, and trust me, the region is not perfect and America is not perfect either. There are some things that as a woman, as a black woman, that I really never understood about femininity and gender roles before I went and lived in Jordan, in Oman, in Egypt, and before I visited Palestine and Turkey and the United Arab Emirates. The dominant culture in that region really views women as the prize. And I know as black women, we collectively, we were not raised to see ourselves as the prize. We were raised to take on masculine roles due to some cultural realities in our context in America. And that has really destroyed our overall femininity and how much we are allowed to be feminine. I'm sorry. Hi, cuz. Hi. Yeah, that's cuz. Anyway. So let's get back to understanding feminine power and how much you can get using it, how much leverage you have. Like, I grew up being a tomboy. I grew up not understanding. I grew up being shamed for being feminine. I grew up wishing I was a boy because I didn't know any better. I didn't understand feminine power for what it was. And our role is not to, as a feminine being, right? Like, as people who are choosing to be feminine, like, you don't, I'm all, for the freedom of people to express and to embrace their sexual orientations and their gender identities. However, if you are choosing to be feminine, then you have to really embrace that feminine role, which is to receive, sis. It's to receive. It's not to give. It's not to prove yourself. It's not to chase. It's not to impress a man. It's to receive. Feminine energy is a passive energy. It is an energy that is supposed to lay back and be catered to, pampered, protected, provided for. Feminine energy adds so much beauty, aesthetic pleasure, nurturing vibes, warmth to a masculine energy's life. And we cannot underestimate how valuable that is. I know in the world that we live in really embraces masculine energy, patriarchy really prizes masculinity, and if we're not careful, we can end up believing that we are supposed to emulate what is prized and what is exalted, which is masculine energy, right? So like war and competition and all that stuff that comes from a whole bunch of testosterone. So my point is, don't be a bargain priced woman. Embrace your feminine energy, embrace your feminine power, and set your standards high. The higher you set your standards, the less you will get played in this game of love that we all end up playing. Set your standards very high. Sit back before you give anything to a man, before you give time, before you give emotions invested, before you give your body to a man. Let him work. Men don't respect women who make it so easy to access their emotions, to make it so easy to access their body, to make it so easy to access their time. Men actually like to work for what they want. And if they want something, hunty child, they will work for it. They will work for it. They will really, really work for it. I'm like so serious right now. So you make sure you keep that in mind, and you make sure your number one approach is not to offer the man or a man or the man of your choosing the world, because he will end up resenting you for that, because he will end up feeling emasculated. I have plenty of stories, but I'd like to just share one story before I sign off, and that is of my cousin, an extremely successful entrepreneur, millions and millions and millions of dollars. She believed in building a man, and she married someone who's 3 years younger than her. Okay, it was wonderful. They had a child. They live in a mansion. Okay, they live in a mansion in the Annapolis area, and it's beautiful. Okay, but now she is 50. She's 50, and her husband's like 47. This man is dogging her out. This man is cheating on her. This man is running around, and they have Porsches and Range Rovers, and he'll go out and take his Porsche and show off and date women who are like 30 years younger than her, right? So sadly, she didn't have anyone tell her when she was younger, don't build a man. Don't do it, because he'll end up resenting you and probably end up cheating on you later. Because at the end of the day, he's looking at her like, wow, like, you built me up. I wouldn't have this mansion, I wouldn't have these Porsches, I wouldn't have these Range Rovers had you not started that business with, like, he didn't do that by himself, right? But the next pretty young 20-something-year-old who's all up in his face is gonna be like, wow, that's a nice Porsche. Ooh, that's a nice Gucci backpack. They wear Gucci all the time, right? Ooh, that's a nice Gucci backpack. That 20-year-old is seeing that 47-year-old man having all this wonderful stuff, and that 20-year-old woman doesn't know that there was a woman building him up to have all that stuff. So she is just impressed and in awe, and men love that. Men like live off of that. And he feels very masculine when this 20-something-year-old is fawning and in awe over him. And that male ego kicks in and starts to really crave that. And he ends up cheating on his wife, who built him from nothing to this multimillionaire who drives Porsches, who lives in a mansion, and who wears Gucci. Okay? All right, so I'm gonna sign off now. Don't be a bargain priced woman. Don't let this happen to you. It happens more than you think. Look around, look around, look around. And let me know what you think. All right, bye.